Welcome to Mom's Life Made Simple, the podcast for moms who want to go from chaos to calm, from overwhelmed to organized, and to find balance between family responsibilities and personal growth. I'm your host, Chanel Nielsen. Let's make mom life simple. Hello, and welcome to the Moms Who Know podcast. I'm your host, Chanel Nielsen. Today, we are going to talk about interruptions. We're going to talk about a way to reframe interruptions, because this is something we're dealing with as moms all the time. And so it's a quick episode that I hope will be really helpful for you. And maybe because it's quick, you can listen with a few less interruptions. Before we get into that, let's share the review of the week. This is from Liz Monty 2, who titled it Insightful and Uplifting. Love this podcast. It's insightful and uplifting. I'm a mom of 3 little ones, and I'm always looking for ways to improve my parenting and life in general. I get a lot from the practical advice Chanel gives and the stories that she shares. So thank you so much, Liz Monty. I appreciate that, and everyone who's left a review. And if you haven't yet, please go and do so. I would appreciate it very much. And today, like I said, we are talking about interruptions, and I hope that this will have some practical advice for you. The idea for this topic came to me when I was trying to watch a video. And it wasn't a long video. I want to say it was under 10 minutes. And because it was during the summer, my kids were home, people were coming in and out of the room, even though no one was there. I was like alone. I had time alone to do this video, sort of. And so I press play and I watch the video, and then someone says, "Mom," and I press pause. And then I started up again when that conversation was over, and then someone else needed me. Over and over and over. And it took so many tries to get through this video. I was kind of frustrated. I was a little irritated. And I was reminded of a quote by Michelle Craig, who talks about seeing people not as interruptions, but as the purpose of your life. And that was a really good reminder to me, because what's really more important? Obviously, it's the people, not this video that I can't even remember a couple weeks later. I can't even remember what it was about. I don't even know what the video was that I was trying to watch, only that it seemed important in the moment, right? It was something I wanted to do at the time. And yet I let the fact that I wasn't getting to do what I wanted to do frustrate and irritate me. And so I went back and I looked up this full quote from Michelle Craig, and this is so good. I want to read the whole paragraph where this comes from. She says, "You and I can plead for the Holy Ghost to show us all things what we should do, even when our to-do list already looks full. When prompted, we can leave dishes in the sink or an inbox full of challenges demanding attention in order to read to a child, visit with a friend, babysit a neighbor's children, or serve in the temple. Don't get me wrong. I am a list maker. I love checking things off, but peace comes in knowing that being more does not necessarily equate to doing more. Responding to discontent by resolving to follow promptings changes the way I think about my time, and I see people not as interruptions, but as the purpose of my life." When you hear that in context, isn't that just so powerful? We have things we want to do, but what is really important? So on a side note, this is funny. I just had to pause the recording of this podcast because someone was jiggling my doorknob trying to get in. That was my little 5-year-old. And those kind of interruptions are exactly what I'm talking about. So people needing you when you're trying to get something else done. Now, I talk a lot, you've heard me say before, this comes from Stephen Covey, to focus on the important before the urgent. And another thing that he says is sometimes we get caught up in the thick of thin things. Often the things that we're getting interrupted from doing are not that important. And really, in the grand scheme of things, they're not the things that are going to matter in the long run. So how do you determine what's really important? Because there are things you want to get done, whether it's recording a podcast or watching a YouTube video that seems, interesting or informative or whatever, and you want to do those things. So how do you determine what's really important?
I really love an exercise that I heard from Ben Hardy, and I think that this is really instructive and really powerful. He said to imagine yourself 10 or 15 years in the future coming back into this moment. So take a second, imagine yourself, you're a little older, a little wrinklier, a little more gray hairs, whatever the case may be. You're coming back into this situation. And so now for me, instead of a 5-year-old, I have a 20-year-old in 15 years. My youngest kid is 20. And what would 15 years in the future me, what would she give to just hold her 5-year-old again? When right now, because there's a gap between number 4 and number 5, I've had a little taste of that. My older kids, they don't often want to sit and snuggle on the couch. And so when my 5-year-old does, I'm like, oh, I got to eat this up. Like, this is the time, this is the moment. I have a glimpse of what the future is going to be like because I do have kids in those stages. So for most of us, though, we need to use our imagination here. When you are in the future, what gratitude will you have to have these moments, these tiny little moments with your little ones? And even if your kids aren't little, even if they're teenagers, they're still in your home, they're living with you. In 15 years, it's going to be a totally different situation. So putting yourself in the future and trying to look back from that imagined perspective can really help you decide what's important. And I think that it's not too big of a stretch of the imagination for us to see that with that future perspective, people are the purpose, just like Michelle Craig said in that quote that I read. People are the purpose. People are the important. People are what matters. So the reason I shared this with you today, 3 quick takeaways that I hope will stand out to you. Number 1 is that people are the purpose. And whatever else you want to get done, even if you're getting interrupted, set the thing aside when you can and focus on the people because they are what really matters. Number 2, put the important before the urgent. So often, there's an urgent YouTube video that I want to watch or something urgent that seems like, oh, I need to do it right now, but really it's not that important. Focus on those things that matter, and then you can either let go or let those things that are not as important come later in your list of priorities. You do them later. You let them go. You wait until after the kids go to bed, or you pause and you give all your attention to your kids and then press play. And that might mean you get interrupted 5 times while you're watching a video, and that's okay because you're really putting what matters first. Number 3 is if you find yourself constantly interrupted throughout the day, and you feel like because of these constant interruptions, you aren't able to get things done and you're living in a state of stress and frustration, then one thing that will really help is creating better systems. You need better systems in your day to allow you pockets of time, windows of time to have self-care, to work on your goals, to do the things that are important. And systems are what I teach in Mom's Life Made Simple. That is how you can really hone in on when can I do the things that matter to me so that there are times that I can just focus on the people that matter to me. So quick little episode for you today. I hope it's been helpful. As a reminder, Mom's Life Made Simple group coaching starts in September, and this is the last one at this lower price point before the price goes up with our next group. This 3-month group coaching program will really help you to create the systems that will allow you to find balance between your family needs, all the things you do for them, and the things on your heart that you just feel called and desire to do. And I would love to help you with that. You can get more information at chanelnielsen.com/coaching. All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks for listening to Mom's Life Made Simple. Need some help making your mom life simple? I offer group coaching programs using my 4-step method called the Mom's Method. This is a process of manifestation, organization, mobilization, and simplification that will give you the balance, progress, and joy you're looking for. Visit ChanelNielsen.com or find me on Instagram or Facebook at Chanel Nielsen Coaching. I love to hear from you. Reach out with your questions, your feedback, and let me know how I can help make your mom life simple.